think I hear you saying, when you're having a conversation with a police officer.
You ask them questions, hey, I take a fifth on that one, like I'm consenting this and that. The more aggravated they get because they're already out there for 10, 12 hours of the shift, they're already frustrated. They've been chasing people, they're going through hell. They're going to take out your frustration on you, basically.
Well, what I would say, I understand what you're saying, and it's a pretty scary situation to be talking to a person who has a gun at their side. But I would calmly assert my rights. I would not worry about angering them. Sometimes they may act like they're angrier than they are because they're trying to intimidate you. It's hard to say to somebody, just stay calm and assert your rights. You know? I mean, ICE agents can pretty much say anything, and they do. An ICE agent, for example, can go to a house where, let's say there's a young Latino mother, he hears a 3-year-old child in the background, and he doesn't have a warrant signed by a judge. I've got a warrant. If you don't open that door, I hear a child back there. If you don't open that warrant, you're not going to see that child for 6 months. You better start arranging child care because you're not going to see that child for 6 months. It's completely false. It's fabricated. They can do all kinds of things, but it takes a lot of courage, I know. And I have I'm a person of privilege, right? Middle-aged white guy, right? It's easy for me to say, but I think my head is off to those people who can simply, quietly, calmly assert their rights and not be fearful, or at least not let fear cause them to speak when it only hurts themselves to speak. To simply say, I wish to remain silent, and don't do anything else except identify yourself. And say, am I free to go? And keep asking and stay calm about it. And don't get involved in an argument, and especially don't touch them. And don't run away, ever. So that's all I can say, really. You know, they want to provoke you into a conversation, but you say, I want to remain silent, and you will not be provoked. That's how you win. I won't be provoked. You can't provoke me into a conversation. You can't get me to start explaining myself, why you're wrong and I'm right. I want to remain silent.
You talked about the chilling effect.
Chilling.
And I mean, I think a lot of us are kind of law-abiding. We pay taxes and come here through work and stuff, study. So it's profile-wise, they may have a profile of people like that too. But we tell our children, just like Anthony was saying, different things. And I mean, I tell my sons, hey, don't just say your thoughts the way they come to you, because you could be, you know, surveillance, just like the New York NYPD, and it can be taken out of context. But now, in the broader context, that seems such a scary prospect. But what society have we created?
Well, I agree. It's terrible, right? And I mean, I think
what should we tell our children? I mean, should we continue the chilling effect, or you're saying?
I would say, speak up for yourself. Stand up for your rights.
Well, that's actually a really good point. I had my 11-year-old son sitting right next to me, and he lost the bounce in the step because he's being detained, quote unquote, and he'd never went through that before, even though his father is being questioned. After that, the entire flight back, he was just somber. He had nothing, so it has a chilling effect on kids, even though he saw how I interacted. But it does not, for the youth, it does not, going back to the question that was asked about being ACLU providing services for the youth, this is why Ummah was started back up again too, for the youth. And I love seeing everybody who's here, but we do need the youth here as well. And we need them to know what their rights are. My son has been coming for the past couple of events that we had, and he loves coming here because he gets information. Right? And he asserted his right. He basically, when I went to drink water from the water fountain, he actually went up to the CBP and said, why are you detaining us? And that's something I was chilled about, saying, no, you know, this is not the platform to say it right now. As a father, I was kind of scared for him to go up there. But being a shy kid, he actually asserted his right, and I was proud of that, but scared at the same time. So we need the youth to get involved. I'm talking about an 11-year-old. We need youth, anywhere, all youth. We need them here so we can tell them they are Americans, what their rights are, and how to assert those rights. I have
just a quick follow-up. I mean, I've thought about telling people, hey, join the ACLU, have the card. But that itself is a chilling thing to do, right? If I sign up for ACLU, and my name is in some database which goes somewhere else, and now suddenly I'm wrapped up in...
I hope you'll join us, and thanks for reminding me. ACLU.org is our website, and of course you can join. I don't think being a member of the ACLU puts you on a list, as far as that goes. But again, we just have to assert our rights, because authoritarian governments try to scare you into not asserting your rights. And we just have to stand up and assert our rights. And that's really all I can say.
So we're moving to a different, slightly different topic here. Does police work with IRS? Does FBI police have access to my tax returns?
That's one I don't know the answer to, but I think the IRS has its own investigators. And if someone were arrested for tax evasion, it would be an IRS officer who would arrest them, I believe. But I am not positive. I think the IRS has its own federal situation. As far as the police and ICE goes, that is a big topic of contention. And in California, a law was passed called the Trust Act, which said that the police will not cooperate with ICE. And we're continuing to work on that issue. And a growing number of police departments are saying that they will not cooperate with ICE, or they're falsely claiming that they're not cooperating, and we're calling them out on that lie.
Thank you. Any other?
I just think it's an attempt in some cases to intimidate or bully or make you feel threatened. It's outrageous, really, right?
Especially with our kids, because they like, America is everything for them.
Yeah.
For us, we are immigrants, it's okay. So I had a very small question that you mentioned that in New York, NYPD or government is tracking the mosques and areas where Muslims go, and they are keeping record of car number plates and stuff. Is it happening here too, do you think?
I don't know that it is. If you think it's happening, let us know. Please call that number. I don't really have inside information on what the government's doing. We try to find out from a variety of sources. We go beyond having folks like you tell us what you think's happening. We do these FIA requests, and we find out what they're doing, and we continue to do that.
Question. I don't see that enough. Just to answer that, UMA is actually doing that, and Civic Education Forum is one of the thing that we're doing to include everybody. It's not just for Muslims, it's not just for, so it's for immigrants, and it's for civic education, what our rights are, what our responsibilities are. So yeah, encourage people to come attend these events.
To that point, which you just mentioned, back in January, I was at the airport when the Muslim ban happened, and I was shocked to see, kind of, for lack of a better word, I was disgusted that our community wasn't there. We were being represented by our American brothers and sisters, right? Not Muslim. We're talking about Jewish Americans, we're talking about Sikhs, we're talking about Hindus, because they know that if and or after Muslim, they're going to get targeted. So if we don't stand up together, united, we're all going to crumble. So that's a very valid point, and I applaud you for your courage for speaking up and saying that. And that is one of the coalition building jobs, as Abdus was saying. We also have with UMA, where we are trying to engage One Justice and ACLU and CARE, amongst other organizations, not just for the protection of Muslims, but we need to be standing up. So, LGBT community was there too. I know it's a stigma for Muslims in our community, whatnot, but they're human beings too. We all have to stand up for everyone's right. Your belief might be different, whatever you think, but stand up for justice and stand up for humanity. That is what Islam teaches us, regardless. So whoever it is, go out and support them. I think we need to start supporting ourselves, unify ourselves, and then start supporting others as well while we're doing that. It's a hand-in-hand combination.
One comment on that though, I mean, I agree in principle, but when there's a terrorist attack somewhere, everybody expects me sitting in the room and looks at me and says, "Oh, aren't you going to condemn them?" I said, why should I condemn him? Why are you looking at me? You should condemn him. And that's why a lot of Muslims like me don't want to stand up. Because you expect me to stand out and you're validating that it is a Muslim ban. I don't even think it's a Muslim ban. Right? My son doesn't think so. Every time I tell him, he says it's not. I mean, we know it started like that, and then they use language to manipulate things. But it's like, why do you expect me to rise up? And I think a lot of people like us don't want to stand out just because of that.
Just to add on to that, I wasn't necessarily saying like, you know, speak out and condemn openly. And I was more talking about, you know, standing up for people.
Yeah, no, but I was talking about like the airport thing, right? Like
yeah.
Muslims didn't show up type things. Like,
well, that's because
the people who show up are the same people who show up every time rights get infringed, which is good. They're passionate about that. And if some of them happen to be Muslims, great, right? And
No, but in this case, he's saying that there were American people actually there, and
but
not
those
Muslim
American
alone.
people are there when the blacks were targeted, when everybody was targeted. There is an intellect. I mean, this is a great country, right? There are people like that who stand up.
Yes.
And I'm not saying they should stand up alone. We wish the voting was different, right? But the majority is now switching its opinions. And so
One thing is definitely very important to say, that we are lucky to be here in this country. We have rights to sit there and talk about it. You know, many places we don't have that. So we are lucky to be here. We have to be on the right side. And we have people like him that are helping us, and we have to participate more into the society to build ourselves. We become a voice because we can.
Yeah, we need to know our responsibilities and our rights. That's why we are doing these events.
What I was talking about wasn't necessarily, you know, Muslims standing up for Muslims, because that I understand. When something is going on targeting Muslims, I can understand not wanting to go out and self-protection. I'm saying, like, protect other marginalized kind of people that you have more power than in that specific realm.
And that's the point. And that's the point I was making. That the point I was making is we were not even there for ourselves, let alone why would we actually go out and support others. So that's the point I'm making. That was kind of dumbfounding for me. But yes, that's absolutely true. We need to stand up for others. We need to stand up for the Sikhs. The Sikhs get the backlash for us because they have, you know, lengthened beards and they're wearing turbans, and ignorant people think that they're Muslims and they get targeted. So we need to stand up for them as well, right? And they're out there for us. We need to be out there, regardless if they're out there for us or not. We should be standing up for others. Do we have any other questions? I think you had a question, sir, earlier on. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, you know, some of the reasons that you cite, so a lot of the Muslims don't come in with with what's going on. It's, you know, it's coalition building. So the ACLU, I believe you're doing some coalition building. So we would like to know what are the different organizations that that you work with, so we can also associate ourselves with that. Muslims are usually just go to one organization they have and they work with that, so they're not familiar in a lot of cases with the different organizations that they can work with, what have you. So you want to elaborate on some organizations that you work with, so we can kind of work with.
Gosh, there are so many, and I don't want to play favorites,
okay.
but I mean, there's a prisoners' rights group called Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, LSPC. There's an LGBT rights group called Lambda Legal, Lambda, like the Greek letter. The Black Lives Matter movement is not a formal movement, but there's those folks. There were just so many people. There are many marginalized groups, but I really applaud what she was saying about coalition building. It's just so key. There's a new word that people use, intersectionality. So many issues are intersectional. They involve more than one issue, but people can come together. And again, you can form coalitions with people who you don't agree with. Like we don't agree with the official Catholic Church about birth control, but we agree in their opposition to the death penalty. So we look for common ground and work on those issues with them. You can ally with people who you only agree about one issue with on that one issue. And so being open to that is, I think, important also in coalition building.
I guess that would conclude our event. I sincerely appreciate everybody coming in and all the questions you asked, and especially Mike, Chase, and ACLU for being here. Once again, I will give out their phone number again for those who haven't written it down. It's 415-621-2488, and I believe that's the office number in San Francisco, and it's aclu.org. Encourage you to be a member of ACLU. I encourage you to be a member of Ummah, so we can promote and give more programs like this in the future. And I thank you. We're still going to be around. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.